okay, so you're an owner in pickle. You obviously know the world of tennis backwards. What was appealing to you about pickle, and why am I wrong to think that it'll never work on TV?
I don't know if I think you're wrong. I do. No, I have a hard time watching it on TV as well. Like, I agree with you on that part. I do think it's incredibly fun to watch live. Um, when I've been to a few of the pro events, and when you get to see the pro players play live, it is incredible. Like, how quick their hands are, how well they move their feet, both male and female. Like, it's so much fun to watch. I feel like the competitiveness of each point at the pro level is like, there's so many exciting points, like point after point. They hardly make any mistakes, and it's so much fun to watch live. But on TV, and I try to watch it too, and I just have a hard time. Like, I don't know if we're spoiled in tennis because our sport is organized so well when it comes to camera work or TV, or whereas, like, I'm always feeling like I'm left out on so much more information. When I'm watching pickleball on TV, but I do like it. When I'm there at the events and I watch it live, I do think it's fun.
Yeah,
And I watched your game last year. I guess it was already, right? It's already a
and
year ago.
wasn't that a treat?
That was fun.
Yeah. That was but it actually leads to a point where, so as you before you got into it, I have my little very professional notes here where my son drew something on the top also. But I said, like, you're going through the pickleball and like what the problem is, and I said the pacing is weird, right? Like, you get into it and everything feels like it's kind of in a rush, and you don't actually have the ability to digest and or understand, be told like kind of what's going on. And from where I sit, it's almost as if the better you get, the slower the entire game gets, into
Right.
where, it's like it's slow during the points and then everyone's in a rush to start the next one again. Like, so
Yeah.
the pacing just feels a little strange. Whereas if you're watching Rafa in a fifth set, you it's a shorter point, but then you can actually explain, digest, and then kind of build some anticipation with the crowd. And in pickle, it just seems like the wrong parts are slow and the wrong parts are quick. If that makes
But that's
sense
if you
a
compare it
little
to
bit,
tennis, I think, right? Like,
which is going to be the comp though.
I mean, have you ever played padel?
I've watched videos and it looks so cool, and I have
It's
not played
so
it, and
fun.
everyone says it's awesome.
It's so much fun. Like, but it's the same thing. Like, it's I think pickleball is easier like access to an older generation of people that would like to play, like kind of a racket sport. So I think it's easier than a padel or tennis. So I think for on the amateur level, I think pickleball is very, very approachable. Padel is tough, because you use the walls. There's a lot more rotations. It's different, a different reading of the game, but it's also so different. But nobody really compares padel to tennis, right? Whereas with pickleball, like, I feel like there's that comparison all the time of yeah, like in tennis they do this and pickleball doesn't do that. Like, it's I don't think we should compare it.
Yeah, I think the comparison comes because the real estate on a club level for pickleball makes a lot more sense than tennis courts. So
It
people are
does
losing
for
their
that
tennis
sense.
courts,
Yeah,
and you got to have someone to blame or something to
that's
blame.
true. That's
It can't
true.
just be like we need to adjust over time.
Right. But do you still play pickleball?
Not if
No.
I can help it. No. If yeah, I went and I made my ESPN commentary debut 2 weeks ago, and sitting right there next to Chris Fowler. The only thing that didn't seem like it was uh, kind of something that would happen naturally is that we were watching pickleball instead of tennis. So that's where my life's at. I'm actually now a pickleball commentator.
Listen,
So
Andy, I donated an hour tennis lesson to the school here for charity, and I got the call from the lady, and she's like, "Yeah, I bid it for the hour tennis lesson, but would you mind if we go play 2 hours of pickleball instead of tennis?"
come on.
And I was like, "Okay, I guess that's where I'm at." Like, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
went to play pickleball with I think it was about 8 ladies, I think, and there was a lady that was actually 83 years old, and has a tennis background. Was loved that pickleball is out there now, and she can't be on a tennis court, but was able to play pickleball, and so it was actually a lot of fun. But funny that my tennis hit got turned down for a pickleball
That's a
session
shot.
of 2 hours.
As much of a shot to the ego it was for me that the first time I had any outreach from ESPN was to do a pickleball event. That one would have stung me a little bit too. Like, hey, well, I'm giving you an hour, that's great, but also, can we play pickleball instead of tennis? That's a rough one. I will say though, I get in trouble because I say stuff about pickleball all the time, and I love it. I think it's a blast to play. I get it. I think it's awesome. I think it's really added value to orthopedic surgeons everywhere. Um, but I do think it's fun. I do think it's a great intro. I don't think that they need to be treated as adversaries. I think it's a nice kind of invite to tennis. Also, I think the more people that play pickleball, it's going to be that waterfall effect where I think naturally we'll have more people interested in tennis if there are more people
Yeah,
playing in pickleball and seeing a tennis court. And I'll tell you, my son Hank. Um, our daughter Stevie likes playing tennis, and so she'll go. But Hank's like, no tennis, don't like it, not into it. So he goes and has like a pickleball lesson where he just runs around and has fun.
yeah,
Uh, Hard courts were wet, clay courts were less wet. So he kind of went in on Stevie's tennis lesson a couple weeks ago, and he could all of a sudden play tennis because he had been playing pickleball for 6 months, right? So I'm going, oh, okay, so that's a good marketing thing that
yeah,
pickle's completely missing, right? It's like start and pickle, use it as a kind of a training mechanism. And so I get a video of him hitting balls and all that. I'm like, was he able to do that? Like when did he start playing
yeah,
tennis? But there was a direct correlation to where now he's kind of on the fence. He's like, okay, that was pretty fun. I can play tennis. Anyways, I think they can all live in the same sandbox. It's just that
for
one
sure.
sucks to watch on TV. That's all. That's the only deal, you know?
Listen, keep up the commentary. Go to the tennis channel when they're live streaming the pickleball tournaments, and then start
Start
doing
doing it. Yeah.
commentary.
I
It
was
will
thinking
draw a
about
lot of people.
yeah, I was thinking about doing that for pickleball, but then I figured like would that many people watch a live stream of a nap?
Have you ever
I
seen
didn't know. I didn't know.
have you ever seen that the video of I think it was Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart when they're talking over the
Yes.
Olympics? Like that's you can do that on
Beautiful.
pickle. It was so good.
That's actually a good idea. We've been thinking about the wrong thing. Simulcasting tennis matches is not our business, Mike. In Social Sophie, I think it's actually just ripping. No, but on a gummy. Oh, that's a step too far. That's a step too far. That's a step too far. You can't say that. I would never.